Yep, this is going to be yet another video on thoughts and their referential functionality, because it's just really significant to discover the meaning behind the difference between what is referential and what is not referential. You know, thoughts are the only things in the universe that are designed to refer to something other than themselves. And that's all they can do. Every single thought in your brain represents something other than itself. I dare you to prove me wrong. This is an experiment. Try to think of a thought that completely refers to itself. You will fail every time. First, we have to understand what a thought itself literally is. Thoughts are literally electrical currents flowing inside your neurons in your brain. That's what they literally are when we study someone's brain activity. So if a thought wants to refer to itself, it has to refer to itself as what it literally is. If it doesn't refer to what it literally is, then it refers to something else. It's as simple as that. Now notice how every single object around you is itself. Notice how they simply represent themselves. They don't represent something else. They don't refer to something else. They are just being themselves. And in reality, that's also the case with your own thoughts. Your thoughts are just being themselves, and they don't represent anything else but themselves as electrical activity. In reality, everything is itself. Can you understand that? A cup of tea is itself. It doesn't pretend to be something else. A leaf is itself. It doesn't try to represent anything else. A molecule is itself. A piece of hair is itself. Your smartphone is itself. Your eyeballs are themselves. Your brain is itself. Your thoughts are themselves. But in your mind, they are pointing to other things which doesn't have anything to do with itself. That's the only problem with thoughts. They are constantly pointing to other things, trying to figure out what those other things are, and mostly in an objective way. But in the objective world, everything is just itself. I mean, we are basically using our thoughts to represent the reality that exists outside of our thoughts as good as possible in an objective way. But the only important thing that we're missing is the fact that a thing can never perfectly and objectively represent another thing. You know, we are using our thoughts to represent the reality that exists outside of our thoughts. Yes, that exists outside of our thoughts. So we are using our thoughts to represent something else. We are using a thing to represent something else, but nothing can represent reality better than reality itself. A video game cannot represent reality better than reality itself. Or nothing can represent a flower better than the flower itself. So the best way to represent the thing is by letting the thing represent itself as it is. We have to stop using something else to represent a specific thing. The best way to represent everything is by letting everything represent themselves as they are, independently from the way we represent them with our thoughts. Now, if you really want to have access to your own thoughts in an objective way, you just have to let your thoughts be themselves without any referential or representative meaning. They must not represent anything at all but itself. Now, if your thoughts, if you refer to your thoughts as your thoughts, that's also giving referential meaning to your thoughts. So that's also wrong. Stop giving any referential meaning to your thoughts at all. Just stop it. Whatever you are saying about your own thoughts, that's always going to be referential, because you are using other thoughts to define other thoughts, and so in this way you won't allow your thoughts to be just themselves. So this is a thought experiment or a meditation experiment. Allow your thoughts to be themselves without any referential or representative meaning. And I will guarantee you that eventually you will have access to the objective reality. Because again, in reality, everything is itself, and nothing represents anything else but themselves as they are. And it's impossible to use one thing to objectively represent another thing. That's just impossible. It doesn't make sense. A painting can never represent a landscape better with infinite details. A mathematical model can never represent reality perfectly. Now that might be a radical claim, but it just doesn't make sense to me to say that one thing can represent another thing in an objective way, even if it is mathematics. No, the only thing that can objectively represent a thing is the thing itself, independently from anything else that tries to define it. And so you just have to stop using other things to represent that thing or to refer to that thing. And so that's the ultimate problem with thoughts or models or theories. The best you can do is to perceive a thing without referential or representative meaning. No language, no symbols. All of that is referential or representative. So stop perceive a thing without referential or representative meaning. And that's called meditation. Right? So go ahead and meditate your ass off. Meditate until you stop focusing on what your thoughts are pointing to, and focus on the experience itself. But pay attention. If your thoughts are telling that you are focusing on the experience itself, that's wrong, because you are again using your thoughts to refer to what is going on in an objective way. But again, objectivity is precisely the absence of referential meaning. So try it out.